Here's how you know that I did not pick these homes.
That we went to them?
This was paper clutter.
Oh.
Well, first piled on the bedroom floor if you saw our video last week at Rachel's house. Then today it's all about the built-in desk in the kitchen. Those are the worst. So we are back at Rachel's house today, and we didn't share this last week, Tom, but what did you say when we pulled up to Rachel's house?
So Dawn, this is a terrible idea. Let's just go home.
Tom was cool as a cucumber leading up to it. What were you worried about?
I wasn't cool. I was just quiet.
You were just not saying your concerns. What was your fear when we got to Rachel's house and you actually saw them like standing at the doorway?
I think it was more just like, who are we to tell people what to do with their stuff?
I totally feel that. Yeah.
But we did it anyway, so there.
We experienced a lot of success there.
Yeah.
And Rachel was awesome. We kept telling her, like, you have been the best to work with. And I want to tell you too, as we're going to get into her desk here, show you what it is we're going to work on. But Tom had some epiphanies along the way that you kept bringing up even after we left her house. I want to talk about that
And
too.
you seem to be hung up on those epiphanies.
So honestly, when I first looked at Rachel's desk area, I was like, oh no. Like, this is the worst of the worst kind of clutter to deal with. And
You want to know what I thought?
What?
Why are we here?
Yeah.
This house is immaculate. Granted, I'm sure that they probably cleaned before we got there.
Yeah,
but
no, it's true.
It was very organized. Like,
yeah, I mean,
very.
Rachel had said, so again, they have 9 kids, they have 9 boys, they have 2 sets of twins, so the age range is 9 months to 15 years old. And she told us even when we first got there, she was like, we actually had 4 kids, 4 and under, and she said, I felt like the Lord tell me, simplify, simplify, simplify. And so she really had been doing a good job of keeping their house decluttered, not keeping extra inventory. But we all know how those things accumulate. The stuff on the bedroom floor, the stuff on the built-in desk in the kitchen. And so I felt like we were starting at a really great place with her. All right, well, now we are gonna work on Rachel's built-in desk in her kitchen, which if you have one of these, you know it becomes a catch-all. So 2 tactics. We're gonna put a little bit of organization in place to help corral the stuff. And then also just knowing it takes a daily habit of really working to keep this space clear. I like when the kids play, do your kids ever play the floor is lava? And it's like,
yes,
the desk is lava, the desk is lava.
Yes.
You can't set anything down on there.
It's true.
Because you had tried. You had a time will tell basket, which I was really excited to see.
Yep.
But it hasn't been functioning quite right. So
Right.
we're going to talk about that and see if we can come up with another solution. So we'll get to that too.
Okay.
But why don't we work first to just run and rehome some of the stuff that doesn't belong here.
Very good.
So step 1 when you're approaching an area like this that's a little bit overwhelming is we just wanted to work on rehoming stuff. So what stuff had landed there that wasn't there? And so there was quite a few items like that. And we had Grayson, one of Rachel's oldest sons. He was acting as the runner. But if you don't have the luxury of having your own runner at your house with you, then
Tom will be there.
Tom's on his way over, or you're going to have to do it. But this is what makes it where we're not turning around and having a huge mess. We're not making the mess bigger. We're just working on it as we go, putting stuff away as we go.
This could be donated, a lint brush thing. We don't need that one. This I know is garbage because it's almost expired, I remember. Medicines we do use. So those could go in the medicine cabinet. There's a good idea, probably.
About a third of the stuff on the desk just needed to be rehomed. It had just gotten temporary set there. So we got that stuff put away. And then we worked on decluttering. And this is where Tom started to have epiphanies too, I think.
This is my fantasy self.
Okay.
Was very into herbs and natural.
Yeah. Along with the
essential oils.
the essential oils, yeah.
That's right.
Yes.
So realistic me probably will never ever use these.
Well, again, because like we talked about in the last video, you have 9 boys.
Yes.
You live on a farm. You
Right.
homeschool. And so again, how much extra space do we have to take stuff on?
Right.
And that's okay. Rachel was really good at recognizing what stuff was fantasy clutter and fantasy self stuff. And she had some books on herbs. And it was good because I was kind of just in the groove. I'm like grabbing the stuff, putting it in the donation box. And you actually said, Tom, at one point, you said, is this hard for you?
Does it make you sad to get rid of fantasy self stuff? It does to me, that's why.
It hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm coming more to terms with I want to work out and I do want to, I'd rather be cooking good meals
Yeah.
and I'd rather read to my little kids, and that's sinking in more and more.
Yeah, because you said, how old are your oldest now?
15.
So that reality of like, I only have a few more like really formative years with them, right?
It's hitting, yeah. And so even though it is hard, I'm
time
getting
and
more and more
energy
ready
for
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally not having the time or capacity to get there.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, I was feeling like a sense of sadness listening to her, because then I started reflecting on a lot of the things I have desires to do, but I just we just don't have the time.
Yeah. No, I was glad you said that, because like I said, I was kind of just focused on like, get the stuff out of here. And
Cold-hearted Dawn.
Yeah, right. Give it to me. Give it to me. It's gone. Catalogs. Let's talk about catalogs. How I look at catalogs now is that they are trying to get me to spend money. They want me to part with my money, bring more inventory into my house like that I have to manage. Like you said with the books, being really aware now whenever I buy a book.
Right.
So if you're going to order from them, of course we want to keep it,
Right.
but being really realistic.
Right. If I'm being realistic, I can probably let all of these go.
Wow.
If I'm being realistic.
That's awesome. And if not, we could have put them in the Time Will Tell basket, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a second. So we would have a place if that's too hard for you, but this is awesome. I think this is great.
Yeah, I mean, they've been sitting here quarantined for a while.
Yes. They always send you more, don't they?
They do.
I think we have like 2 of these out.
That's just it. That's just it. Yep.
The basket under. So what's in here?
An old book, some little things I picked up at the store that I thought were fabulous.
Okay.
And I didn't have time to put them away. So did I really need them?
Oh,
probably not. Probably not. So I think, embarrassingly, these could probably be donated.
And that's okay,
Because
right?
This basket is lovely. Very lovely. But if
I like baskets.
I love baskets. But I kept the one.
Yep.
I don't think I need that. I just don't. I don't think I do.
And the problem with things like this is they collect stuff.
That's a good
right?
point.
So unless we're
That's a
really
good
intentional
point.
about what we're putting in, it just stuff gets tossed in.
It's a very good
So
point.
sometimes we need to lose the containers that... One of the things too, I'm not sure if you noticed it, there was like a puzzle on the desk that I'm sure, I mean, she has little kids too, right? And it still had the price tag on it. And she held up the puzzle, and I looked at that puzzle. In my head, I'm thinking, I don't think your kids are gonna. I don't think they're gonna play with it.
Throw it. Give it to me.
But
Give it to me.
you've obviously like they haven't even used it yet. You spent money on it.
I don't think they're going to use it, if I'm being very honest.
I know. It looks so great when you saw it though, right? Like
It looks great.
yeah.
But my boys just, like I said, they don't like to sit and do a lot of activities. They'd rather be outside running around and playing. So
Yep. And I was so glad when she was like, I just don't see them playing with this. And I just thought that was so cool because she spent money on it. They hadn't even used it yet. And she was able to be just really realistic about what they're going to play with and not. So I thought that was really good.
more jars than I think I ever would use. Should we just get rid of that one maybe?
So this is the other thing about having the donation box handy is because, again, we're trying to do the method where we put everything away as we go. Grayson's running for us today, so we're grateful for that. But sometimes we find it's easier to put it in the donation box than to actually go and put it away.
That's what I'm thinking.
So again, that's the magic of having to always have a donation box with you. I mean, there was one point we held up like a budget planner. I know how much money she spent on that, right? That is not easy to let stuff go that we've spent a decent amount of money on.
And it's great. I think a lot of people would like it. But if I'm just being really honest.
But the season you're in and how you know yourself now, it wasn't working.
Right, it wasn't working for now.
And so instead of trying to say, I spent money on it, so I have to make it work for me.
I know that in the past, when it comes to organizational things, like I just do better with very, very simple, very minimal.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But what I felt like through this whole process, when we were working in the bedroom, when we were working in the kitchen, I felt like Rachel kept prioritizing her family over the stuff. And it was like, I know I spent money, but you know what? I want to spend more time with my boys. So I felt like time after time, she was like, this is hard, this stinks. And I was like, nope, it's about my family right now.
Okay, and this is another little notebook. Okay.
You do like your notebook. A
I
lot
do,
of people
and
do.
I'm learning.
Like a lot of people do.
I am learning that do I actually need this? Because what happens is I write in them and then they get tossed aside, and we've already had like 3 notebooks.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if I should just let this notebook
So
go.
where are you currently making your to-do list?
A lot of times a notebook.
So
and I
think-
usually keep at least like 1 or 2 in here.
Yeah.
It might not be the best place for a
So-
to-do list, but that is
No, I
honestly
think
what I'm
this is
using
good.
right now.
So I think we make this your to-do list drawer. Because you're a cricket, so you like stuff out of sight. So we don't want to put stuff up on here for organization. But if this is your to-do list drawer, it's not very deep. And so you're going to know if you have 12 notebooks in here, they're not all going to fit.
That's a good point.
So once we got the space, we got everything rehomed and decluttered, then we needed to add in a little organization. So everyone, before we get to their house, we ask them, what is your organization style, your Clutterbug style based on Cass from Clutterbug? And so it was very helpful to know that Rachel and her husband are both crickets. And Tom's actually a cricket too. And that means you want stuff, supposedly, you want stuff out of sight, and you want it very organized, like detail organization.
Wait a second. So is that why this morning it made me so happy to put some trucks inside the shed and get them lined up?
to organize your toys and your
Out
stuff.
of sight. Literally, that
Yeah.
was, I can't even believe this just...
Yeah. But what's good, what I'm learning now about this and learning about crickets is that if you are a cricket, you will put off decluttering and organizing and dealing with this stuff because you want to have a perfect system in place. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right the first time. And what's hard with crickets is you are very good at creating systems, at keeping stuff organized until it gets overwhelmed with too much clutter. And then you're like debilitated. You're like, I just don't, and that's how these piles live there for so long. So the whole time we were decluttering, I like have this in the back of my mind. I'm like, okay, she's a cricket. She doesn't want to have any kind of organization that's out on the desk. She wants it hidden, right? And so she even showed us her time will tell bin, and she was like, it hasn't been working. And one of the problems was that it was sitting out on the desk where it just collected all kinds of other stuff. So you had it sitting out on your desk here, right? Mm-hmm. And so I can see, because it's a flat thing, that then other stuff was getting put in with it, and people weren't respecting the time will tell bin, right?
Right, exactly.
So what we were talking about is Rachel actually has an empty drawer here, and it's not too deep, which I like. So my thought is, instead of having it sit out, if we can put a bin in the drawer and put it in there, we're just gonna move everything into here. And what I like about putting a bin in the drawer is that then you can pull this out, because we could just use a drawer, but it makes it harder. And again, we don't want to, this has to be as easy as possible. So anything that stands in our way isn't good.
I like that.
So you can pull out the bin, and then like when you're like, oh, the bin's getting full, I should go through it quick, you flip it over and you start with the oldest stuff first, the stuff that was on the bottom, and then you can really do a quick sort, because if you're using the time will tell bin correctly, most of the stuff will have expired. You realize you didn't actually need it. Oh, I got 2 more seed catalogs in the mail. I don't need those other 3 that were in there. What's great about the time will tell bin, no, you're fine, is that it helps us see over time. Like now you know what, next time I get Culver's coupons in the mail, I'm not even gonna bother keeping them because we never used them again.
And do you remember we just got rid of some more of those?
And again, the time will tell bin is meant that we put stuff in there that we don't know if we're going to need to reference it again.
It's like a time capsule.
And so, no, kind of.
Storage unit.
Yeah. So no to-dos go in there. It is things like catalogs and order forms and maybe a coupon, you might think. So what I knew we needed to do is we needed to get it put out of sight so that it couldn't just get piled with random stuff, so that it was really being used properly. All right, so Rachel got everything sorted out. We have a few to-do items, which I want to talk about finding a spot for that. Yeah. A couple things that need to go into memory bins, which is awesome. She had nothing for her time will tell bin, which is, that's actually ideal.
Okay.
Like, that's great. Okay. So we're gonna stick this in the drawer where it goes, and then that's a cute basket. Do you have a use for it, or is it gonna just collect stuff again?
Gonna just be for time will tell.
Okay.
So yeah,
awesome.
I think that could just go.
And then the other 2 things that didn't really seem to have homes were her to-do list. So Rachel still keeps a paper to-do list like many of us, but we came across like 12 different notebooks and notepads and stuff that she had written them on over the years, and that just get piled and you forget about, then you grab a new notebook or journal or whatever. So do you have a spot where you keep your to-do items? Like things that you need to do today?
I don't yet.
Okay.
And I guess that's where I've kind of gotten hung up and partly why the piles happen.
And so I was like, okay, we just need to have a spot for this. And so it was really nice. The drawers under the middle section of the desk were really shallow. And I'm like, this is perfect because we can't overload it. Like, it's only going to hold a little bit.
But it's nothing that's that.
A notebook. That is shocking. So she picked a couple notepads to put in there. Those are her for to-do list. And then there was a few things for like to-do items, like remember to do this. And so we use the other drawer for that. But again, it's a very shallow drawer because I'm hesitant with drawers sometimes because they can just fill up with tons of stuff. They're very shallow drawers. So she knows if that starts to fill up, like, okay, we got to stop, go through this quick, get rid of anything that's expired or we don't need anymore, and then add stuff to our to-do list from that drawer.
I like that. That works.
Awesome. I'm gonna go grab some labels and let you finish putting away this last few things. So that actually ended up working out really well. Mm-hmm. And then the last conversation we had was, I was like, okay, we have to label the drawers. We have to assign this. This is the home for these things. And she was like, I don't know. I haven't had good experiences with labels in the past. And I'm like, you and me both.
I have actually avoided labels.
Yes,
because
me too.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, oh, I don't need them. Maybe that, because it's not minimal. For me, that's what I thought.
For me, it's like I don't want to set myself up for failure, and then it's very obvious when I'm not keeping the systems I tried to put in place because there's the label and I'm not doing it. But
that's true.
Now you have your house like highly simplified, and so this is the perfect time now to be assigning spaces and putting in labels. So
that makes
the whole point with the label here is that next time, like say some stuff gets piled up on the desk again, life happens. We don't want to have to reorganize the next time we go to declutter or tidy the desk. And so by putting labels in the drawers, Rachel knows, okay, this is where my to-do list go. This is where my to-do items. This is where the time will tell bin goes. And that would take care of a bulk, like a good chunk of the stuff on there is just sorting it back into its spots and not having to rethink through what was this drawer for? What goes in here? And so labels are huge. We just put them in the bottom of the drawer. And again, they're the chalk labels. So you could wipe it off and rewrite something else on there if you would change your system down the road or make adjustments to it. All right. So I was joking on the way over here. I'm like, these are the hardest things. Like paper clutter, piles on the bedroom floor. Mm-hmm. So how are you feeling right now?
Really good. A little, I guess you'd call it decision fatigued.
It was a lot. We did a lot in a short amount of time.
And I don't even know totally why it feels so emotional.
Yeah,
it's a lot. And the fantasy self of I'm going to be an herbalist or I'm going to do these things that I just don't have time for. A big gardener, whatever.
You confronted a lot of things today.
So
like you said, how many fantasy selves have we?
Right, it's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
I think you did an awesome job today, and I do think I have total confidence that you're gonna be able to maintain these areas.
I think so. I do.
And don't get worried, right? If 3 days from now there's a pile on the desk, just say that's okay. Piles aren't scary. I have a system now to deal with that stuff, and
I think that was helpful. Just learning a little bit more about my organizing style too. Realizing that the reason I had all these piles in part was because. I was waiting for that perfect system.
Yes.
That's what it was. And I just don't have time to establish that perfect system. And so it was just piling and piling.
Yes.
But I feel like now with those drawers and the labels, I think that'll help a lot.
And we want to let you know that the Take Your House Back course is open right now. So speaking of having some help to help you declutter, coming up on September 18th, we're going to do a full day of guided decluttering. And so it'll be live. We're going to go area by area through your house and hold stuff up, give you guidance, walk you through our best tips and tricks.
Question, is this 24 hours?
No. That would be exhausting.
I'm just asking. You said a full day. I'm just 24 hours.
It's going to be 8 hours. If you join the Take Your House Back course, that is part of it, but that just goes along with all of the other great content in the course designed to help you get your house decluttered. If you have not been successful at decluttering in the past, this is the course for you. It is new tips and tactics, and there's just something really cool about Dana and Cass and I working together. It's just different and it's really effective. So we'd love to help you too. We'll put a link for that down below. Well, again, Rachel, thank you so much for letting us come to your house. We had a really good time and it really went well. By the time we were leaving, I was like, see, Tom, like that wasn't so bad, right? You're like, no, it was really good.
No, it was good. But the next one is going to be the really tough one. I can feel it.
You can feel it? I hope not. We hope you have a great weekend. We love you and we'll see you again soon.
Bye-bye.